back! On the day I uploaded my lore video on the first game, Powerwash Simulator 2 was announced, and now it's here. The game that hits you with dopamine from a single ding. Well, that's nice. The game with a story about cleaning up the mess of some of the strangest characters you could ever meet. Powerwash Simulator 2 picks up where the last game left off and makes various improvements like looking even nicer, new equipment, this one sucks, and quality of life improvements. But before we get into that, we have some housekeeping to take care of. Following the release of Powerwash Simulator in 2021, FutureLab continued releasing content for years after. This included a lot of DLC packs, and please stop asking me how Warhammer fits into the lore. I have no idea. I do get asked sometimes if the DLCs are worth getting, and to answer that question, if you buy the Shrek pack and load into the first level, walk up to this little kiosk from the movie, you can do this. So yeah, it's worth it. But on top of these licensed paid DLCs, there's also a bunch of free DLC missions called the Muckingham Files. And now that Powerwash Simulator 2 is out, we now realize some of these missions were setting up important details for the sequel, which means, please welcome to, yes, Powerwash Simulator 1 still has lore. The DLCs gave you more levels, and standouts include where an old lady asks you to come wash an excavator that she found buried in her garden, and traveling to Mars. I mean, how else is the rover gonna get clean? When washing it though, you notice some footprints. Footprints that are not your own. They lead away from the rover. And what do you notice first? The unopened hatch on the surface of the red planet, suggesting life. Someone was here before you, and maybe that they're still here. Or do you notice, how did a garden gnome get up here? That mission, it's all a dream, by the way. The Muckingham Files do have some interesting little details that aren't a dream. Now at this point, I do want to mention that these Muckingham Files and Powerwash 2, when we get to it, are a continuation of the story from the first game. A lot of characters that were important previously are just as important now. So if you do need a refresher on that first game's lore, you can check out the previous video. The most notable thing about the Muckingham Files are the last two missions released though. The first I want to mention is the art exhibition. An artist has asked you to clean their largest sculptures on display in a public park. These are all interesting, and you can actually get quite a lot of detail about the artists themselves, as throughout the level, the artist explains the meaning behind each piece. But the last one they tell you about is the most notable. The large statue standing at the end. A statue of what is unquestionably the same design as the garden gnomes that can be found in almost every level of Powerwash Simulator, and maybe the surface of Mars. The artist finally explains the meaning behind this piece. Darcy, the Arsy, that's their name, explains, finally, the bearded figure in the corner is my father. Wait, so if every gnome you see in every level is this person's dad? Then have they made all these little statues? Are they putting them everywhere? Why in this trailer? Are they alive? Are they sentient? Are they watching me? The last mission I want to talk about for Powerwash Simulator 1 is cleaning the subway car, which has become dirty after a bunch of people from the recent festival has just ran through it. Harper, our old buddy, who's not an alien, I got that wrong. The alien was just pretending to be Harper for a bit. Oh, that sentence must be insane for anyone who doesn't know the first game. Harper is now working at a place called Jess's Antiques, who's out on the road having a break because he got roadblocked by a duck and a goat. Yeah, sure. He wonders if we'd ever consider going outside of Muckingham for our business, to all the other places that get name dropped throughout the game, just maybe hinting at something for the next game. The advertisements in the subway actually give us a good idea of what's been going on after the events of the first game and in other towns. There's this advertisement for Bucket Fest, the Bucket Fest that took place in Bucketon, featuring the band Bucket On. Man, the sentences I have to say for these videos. Inside the subway car labeled PWS01, we can also tell with this ad for the Spring Festival, we can see what's happened to the mayor of Muckingham, and you know, since the mayor was involved in nearly ending the world, there's a new mayor, Mayor Freya Petrescu. Don't worry about her. I don't even think she's mentioned again for the whole game. See you later, he's put on the hat. It also looks like the beam that shot out from the Merman is still firing out to keep Mount Rushless from erupting, and it's even a tourist attraction now. In the subway car over, we can see an ad for abseiling, real estate, new soap. Oh hey, Jess's Antiques, the Harper works at. Wait, what's this subway car labeled as? PWS02. Powerwash Simulator 2 released on the 23rd of October, and it's everything you could ever want. Most of the time, those ads in the subway car weren't just random ads, because now not only do you have new equipment to use like abseiling, you can also have a whole new home base to explore and decorate with furniture from Jess's Antiques, who helped us move in. And there's so many creative things you can do with the furniture, like, why can't I put this chair on the rug? Maybe if I put it somewhere else? No, you just can't do it. Now my Gothic Corner Plus hot pink chest of drawers has its accompanying rug just sitting there. I'll just relax by straighting up this wardrobe right against the... Alright, why is this in the game if I can't do anything fun with it? What is great about the home base is the upstairs, where we have this amazing big map to select your levels on, as now your power washing services are operating beyond just Muckingham to the entire Caldera County. To Bucketon, Sponge Valley, Lubricity, to Targento. I'm starting to recognize a theme here. Joining us on our adventure this time, along with our friend Harper, who once again seems to make up a new company name for us whenever they tell someone about us, is Ulysses, the mayor's cat, who we've adopted, along with their kittens Bubble and Squeak that we saw at the end of the first game. They're even in every level somewhere for you to pet them. It's actually really cute. And one of those first levels is washing a public facility in Targento, and it's just a metal plate. Oh my god, it's a toilet. According to the person who hired us for this, Tessa, Targento is a place that prides itself on its innovative tech, one of which is the public toilet designed by Nadia Vonnegut that can apparently detect when people need the toilet by the way they walk, recorded by CCTV and motion sensors. And when detected, this toilet will pop up just in time. Okay, so Targento is a creepy tech probe surveillance state. I got it. Now you may be wondering, what is the ongoing story for Powerwash Simulator 2? In the first game, it was the mystery of what was happening with the volcano and the missing cats. And for Powerwash Simulator 2, it's much more about a series of little details all building up. And so I've structured this video so we can keep track of all of these threads and, oh no, the fire chief's dog is missing. Well, we've solved this case of a missing pet once, and we'll solve it. Oh, they've found it already. Alright, well, no need for that one. Alright, just pretend case 1 didn't happen. For the first few levels, everything seems pretty standard for the most part. Work is going well, the mermaid's beam is still blasting through the sky, and we take up cleaning the Art Deco house, hired by Michelle, who has just returned from a trip and found their house like this, and their partner Karen vanished. But this seems pretty normal, as it's apparently something Karen just does from time to time. No, I'm not crossing out this time, this one's different. So we continue cleaning as normal, and where did the beam go? The merman's beam is gone. Listen, I hope you like that sound, because a lot of these cases all get introduced at once here. Soon enough, the group chat you're in with half of Muckingham, it feels like, starts reporting that they can't see the beam either. Someone in the group chat reminds us that, wasn't that beam keeping the volcano in check? Calvin the... oh god. He's a volcanologist, you know? From the first game assures everyone that thankfully there doesn't seem to be any difference with Mount Rushless. No eruptions, no seismic activity. Thanks son, good to know, don't be late tonight, Andor's is round, we've got meatloaf. I don't want to try recording that again. that's the only take I'm doing of that, that's it. I guess everything is still normal then. Maybe we don't need the beam anymore. The gems are missing. The gems on the merman that the beam shoots out of have been stolen. Welcome to the central mystery of Powerwash Simulator 2. It's up to us to find out where the gems are, who stole them, and why. How are we going to do that? We'll start by washing a car that looks like a dog. Don't forget to clean behind the ears. He loves that. Wait, is this car alive? It has moving eyes? I think this car is sentient. You know what? I don't want to know. I don't want to know. While cleaning the horror beyond imagination, we get someone sliding into our DMs asking us to take on a job. And it's a familiar name. Jeff Jefferson the 13th, the ex-mayor of Muckingham, and the person we may have stolen a cat from. He asked us to clean a billboard in the middle of the desert that was apparently dirtied by a process that doesn't concern us. This billboard that supposedly has the greatest announcement in the history of our county. Jeff has somehow wormed his way to promote himself to the mayor, not just of Muckingham, but the entire Caldera County. Man, I don't know how such a disgraced figure could continue to acquire even more power. He still has a vendetta against us, but can't deny our power washing skills, so we're hired. And because the power washer themselves never says a word and is apparently unable to turn down a job, we accept. We can use the new abseiling equipment to wash this behemoth. As we clean it, we find out what the billboard is advertising. The billboard is advertising the mayor's new scheme to get the towns of Caldera County to engage in a bit of friendly competition. A contest. the Town of the Year competition. The Muckium chat is already all over it, already gunning to win. What other town has a statue that fires a beam from its pineal gland into a dormant volcano for seemingly no reason? Right, well, you don't anymore. I wonder if these events could be linked in any way? Now, the mayor being back and seemingly up to his old tricks, honestly, it's whatever, but he does something unforgivable. Maybe even worse than helping to nearly destroy the world. Okay, maybe it doesn't get worse than that, but he asks us, no, demands we give back the cat. Jeff says he needs Ulysses for his own promotional tour with his hat on. The mayor assures that he's happy to forget all that's happened between us previously, confident that we can forge an incredible future together, side by side. Well, not side by side, he'll be in front and above. Listen, I will gladly wash your billboard, be an accomplice to whatever scheme the Town of the Year competition is a cover for, and gladly take your money for it, but we're not giving back that cat. The mayor isn't the only thing to return from the first game, as the shooting gallery mission up next is a level full of Easter eggs. The shooting gallery itself is all made up of targets of levels from the first game, including the Merman, Mount Rushless, the Monk's Temple, the UFO. Hang on, have we told people about that? Are the aliens common knowledge now? And is the Sasquatch back there from the treehouse level? I don't want to think about the treehouse level again. Oh, hey, the missing cats! As we progress, it seems that the Town of the Year competition is starting to make waves across the county. Some people we go to clean, the owner straight up tells us that they don't even want to be cleaning their place, even though they definitely should be, but they're feeling pressured to do so because of the competition. By the way, this level, we also see a really big truck go by. Hell yeah. One of the owners of this gas station though keeps saying there's sometimes an even bigger truck that goes by, and I bet that everyone had the exact same reaction as me, as every 2 seconds I'd be checking that horizon for another truck coming, which is really annoying because it never does, and I'm pretty sure the first truck never despawns, so it's just permanently on the horizon, so I keep thinking it's the bigger truck coming by. Life is hard sometimes, man. Not only is the Town of the Year on everyone's minds, but we can barely escape Jeff the Mayor's influence. Something that you may have noticed is that basically every single person in the whole game calls us by a different name. And this is down to what I was talking about earlier, where Harper will advertise our business to other people, and he always gives the client some new dumb name to call us. Like when we cleaned that toilet that popped out of the ground, Tessa called us Rinse and Repeat. And back in the gas station where we saw the big truck, they called us Royal Flush. But a particular name to look out for is what Jeff the Mayor calls us, Dirt Finder. So if we follow that, anyone else that calls us Dirt Finder was most likely recommended by the mayor rather than Harper. When we go to clean the bandstand, which has a weird suspicious hatch in the middle of it, the park warden calls us Dirt Finder, who also says, what does the Merman's beam do anyway? Okay, a couple of years ago, it may have helped neutralize Mount Rushless, thereby preventing an apocalyptic event. But what's it done since then? Man, you can really tell this game is made by British developers, because this is just what British men of a certain age all sound like. And if the park warden's association with the mayor wasn't clear already, he reminds us, by the way, don't forget to book Ulysses in for her festival hat fitting, not over my dead body. I think an old man just crashed his mobility scooter into our home base. With the Town of the Year competition getting closer, citizens are getting even more agitated as we get hired to clean a house that doesn't even belong to the person who hired us. We're asked to clean this nouveau house. As is the case with our power washer protagonist, they couldn't care less what the job is as long as they're getting paid. Harper then has to come in and tell us that's not just a random person's house, by the way, it belongs to a legendary lawyer, Xavion Lesage. It's definitely legal to be cleaning his house without their permission, right? Apparently Xavion was the lawyer who even tried to take down the mayor in court, but supposedly there was a dirty jury that let them walk free. Should have hired a power washer. I've got to cut that joke. The dirty jury is why the mayor is still free to become the mayor again. Harper actually reaches out to Xavion to make sure he's not mad we're potentially illegally cleaning his house. Turns out he's actually in the house right now, but thankfully he's actually pretty happy with our work so far, so he's happy for us to continue. Harper even asks for his legal advice in keeping Ulysses, the mayor's cat, and Xavion tells us that without a transfer of guardianship, the mayor actually would have a case against us and could demand Ulysses back. I'm not gonna lie, I care more about this subplot than the merman's missing gems. Speaking of the mayor, he still wants to keep hiring us and asks us to clean this monstrosity, complete with Ulysses in the hat. It's actually the first time we've heard him comment on the fact that the merman's gems have been stolen, even though he calls it a couple of chunks of coloured glass from a very old and very poor piece of art. We're cleaning this airship because when he found out the gem was missing, the mayor actually flew over to the merman statue to reassure the crowd. But between you and me, we were in the area anyway, notifying any desert-dwelling outliers of my victory in the county elections. Weirdly enough, despite being mayor of the whole county and a priceless, wonder-of-the-world scale item being stolen, he's not mad about it. He doesn't even blame the security team tasked with guarding the gems. He says, "Don't we all switch off from time to time?" It's clear he has no care for the statue whatsoever. And he says, "One thing I think we can all agree on is that the statue's practically worthless now." Can you imagine if like one of the faces of Mount Rushmore was stolen and the president just didn't care? Actually, maybe I can imagine that. Anyway, the mayor's headed off to the town of Fumarole to meet the new townsfolk there. Only he's going to be doing it from the blimp because the people are very in your face. Coincidentally, we're also going to Fumarole, as apparently there's a cement mixer that's seized up. And by the way, everyone complains about this job, but look how good this is. You can turn the mixer on so it continuously spins, and you can soap it up and perfectly wash it all off. Like, that's what this game's all about. Oh, that's good stuff. What are we doing here? Oh yeah, what's interesting about this job is that we're actually not supposed to be here. We're hired by Axolotl, and he's not actually supposed to be here either. Turns out there's two A-Lummoxes in the county, one of which is a hairstyle extraordinaire, the other a supervisor who specializes in mining operations. Guess which one got called out to the dig site? The real A-Lummox, Arthur Lummox, does message us at the end and tells us that access is prohibited for this mine, and that we'll have to sign an NDA about what we've seen here and destroy any video evidence. And it's hard to say what's even going on at this dig site right now, but something's definitely going on that they don't want people finding out about. It's this mission that actually made me consider where all these missions are actually taking place, because we can select them from the big map. If we look around while cleaning the cement mixer, we're very clearly in a vast mountain range, but checking where this is located on the map in our home base, it looks pretty flat to me. There's also a river right next to it apparently. Can't see that on the map. It makes me question if this map was maybe a late addition to the game, because a lot of these locations don't really line up very well with what we see inside the missions. In fact, the only real mountainous area is right by Mount Rushless, and I would guess that if someone was digging vast underground networks under Mount Rushless, the place that nearly led to the end of the world last time, I'm gonna bet those people don't want people to know that. Speaking of people who meddled with Mount Rushless, the mayor continues to be up to weird shenanigans, as he seems to be taking revenge on those monks who egged his mansion from the first game when he diverted their water supply. And while we're cleaning the farm, we can actually see the monk's temple that we cleaned in the last game. The owner of the farm, Annie, tells us that the mayor has gerrymandered the town borders so that the farm is no longer technically in Muckingham, it's now considered to be in Pumpton. We can also see these lines on the map dividing up Caldera County. Muckingham and Pumpton are next door neighbours, as is the merman statue. The river they're talking about though? Where's that? I can see this big lake near this other farm that is much closer to Muckingham. Is this not where the farm should be, maybe? Or closer to this big river that runs through the center of the county, which I guess would be saltwater, which I don't think you can use for farms. I think I gotta stop looking at this map. Anyway, by the way, gerrymandering is a real thing that typically people in government pull so they can get voted into office easier. But for Annie and the monks, it also apparently means they legally cannot take water from the local Kalama River. Easy, got that in one. Which is not only basically denying the monks of their source of water, without access to that water, Annie's farm is doomed to dry out. And you know, the power washer could probably help by spreading the word about this issue, but what's that? A mysterious ancient stone circle in the woods, you say? Yeah, sorry, Annie, I gotta know what that's about. The Stone Circle mission is a modest, small, very quick little job. 6 pillars. I'm not counting that as a pillar, that's barely a slab. And one central arc surround a circular display. 12 segments with numerous rocks adorning each segment. Themselves surround one big rock the size of a small rock right in the center. What I discovered about this stone circle blew my mind. If you remember at the end of the first game, we find the Lost Palace, which contained the secret language used to foretell the events of the first game. This must be related to those who built the palace. The first thing I thought to do was cross-reference the symbols found in the Lost Palace with those we see here, but there's nothing. None of those symbols from the first game match the symbols in the stone circle. They do look very similar though, being boxy with curves. Okay, well, what else can we take? There's symbols that clearly resemble the sun, trees, waves, a square. Could these be flames? Flames beneath the trees? Maybe warning of a fire engulfing the forest? I don't think so. What about the center? 12 segments. The 12 zodiac? How many rocks? 32 small rocks, 3 large ones, and 1 center boulder surrounded by, yes, 12 more small rocks. It all makes sense. We're being watched. They're onto me. They know that I know. They know that what this all means is absolutely nothing. There's no meaning at all. I spent so much time counting rocks and theorizing, but it's all gibberish. Just take me home, man. Let me decorate my home base. Let me decorate it to wash away the pain. It's so ugly. Powerwash Simulator 2, you're lucky you put the best level in the game right after this. It's got dinosaurs! The next few levels give us a break from Jeff the Mayor's meddling and the Town of the Year competition as we get to clean a roller rink where, as you all know, the Takoch Dorgor, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, was invented, which it's a taco shaped like a hot dog that tastes like a burger, traditionally served by a dog in Lederhosen. Yeah, I've got no other thoughts about that one. And really, there's no real lore development for a while. Just kidding. It's time for the most important level in the game. We are asked to clean the interior of the temple. Yes, that temple. The monk's temple we cleaned the exterior of in the first game, the same one we saw from the farm. The monks tell us that part of their religion was to take a vow of silence until this moment. The moment we arrived. We cleaned the interior, and just a warning at this point, I bought the triple nozzle upgrade and levels just get demolished at this point. Like, look at this. This thing shouldn't be legal. It's like bringing a nuke to a knife fight. But as we clean the inside, there's little to make note of. But once we clean this room, a secret door on the floor of the temple opens. One of the monks, Cyprus Skubelov, tells us that this is the Crypt of Secrets. Cyprus says they wanted to rename it the Cryptic, but they got overruled. And apparently, no one is set inside this place for over 700 years. They tell us that down there, a mysterious device is waiting for us with messages from an old friend. He's not the old friend, is he? Alright, first things first. In the center of the room, caked in dust and dirt, is a phone, a modern smartphone. Harper even says it's his phone. I'd recognize that lack of features anywhere. Even still has battery left, apparently. While we wait for it to boot up, we clean the walls. We find the very thing I was hoping to find at the stone circle. We find murals, just like we did at the Lost Palace of Atlantis from the first game. They depict large, intimidating beasts, once again written in the secret language of the Pacifics. That's the name of the people who make these, by the way. And finally, a message comes through on the phone. It's Cerulean Sky, our old time-traveling alien friend. For people who don't know the story from the first game, like, what's going through your head right now? Cerulean says, remember when we neutralized Mount Rushless and saved the world together a couple years back? Good times. Well, we need your help again. You see, once we thought everything was back to normal, we hopped into our Universal Flux Orbiter to go back home to 2278. Unfortunately, we were prevented from doing so by an even more cataclysmic event in your very near future. After a brief panic, we knew what we had to do. Travel back to the ancient Pacifics. Again, I guess. Together, we devised a plan, but when we tried to travel forward to enact it, we ran out of time fuel and dropped out in the year 1289. Luckily, there was one building nearby that we knew was still standing in your time, this temple. From here, we could send a message forward to you, our only hope, providing this phone's battery holds true. Well, it did, thank God for that. Now you're asking, what can we do to prevent, and what even is this cataclysmic event? Cerulean says that the only way to stop whatever this event is that all we need to do is take out the Heartstone of the Pacific's desert statue, give it a quick 180 flip, and pop it back in again. Couldn't be simpler. You'll know when the time is right. But oh, and Cerulean's still stuck in the past, by the way, but apparently they're happy with it, so that all seems pretty easy. Oh wait, great plan there from Cerulean. Only one problem. Someone's stolen the gems. Not only can we not stop the cataclysmic event without finding the gems, we don't even know what this event is going to be. Is Mount Rushless going to explode again? Something else? Well, anyway, Michelle wants us to wash our car, so priorities, you know. Oh, you want to know what the murals say? Well, they don't matter too much now. Just keep those images in your mind as we progress this story, where they may become more relevant later. But a consistent element across all these murals is they all feature a phase of the moon in the corner. And in fact, on the ceiling of this room, there's a large full moon. So mysterious. When we start cleaning Michelle's car, she tells us that there's still no sign of Karen, but it seems that Karen has set up an elaborate puzzle for Michelle to solve that, once complete, will reveal coordinates, most likely to wherever she is. We'll leave Michelle to do that puzzle, but first, I need to tell you about the motel level. The motel level is nearby where we cleaned the gas station, the owners of which recommended us to Viola Willis, the motel's owner, and she's been having trouble with her business due to the newly built interstate that has diverted basically everyone from passing this place. And because of that, Viola has had to make some unique changes to the motel, making it less into a place to stay on a long road trip, and instead, in her words, the ultimate relaxation station. Welcome to the Den of Zen, as she calls it. The exterior is still looking like a normal motel, but the rooms have apparently all been fully refurbished. We can't see them, so Viola explains each one to us. There are different kinds of rooms that offer different experiences. Each room has a different color associated with it. She tells us first about the blue rooms, which are the economy option apparently. Look, it's definitely green, but let's just move on. These are called River Blessings, featuring sunken waterbeds and sounds of the Kalama River. Alright, pretty normal so far. Sounds nice even, I'd stay there. Next though is the orange rooms. Tingletown. Gently nestle yourself upon a relaxation bed of nails and feel 1,000 pins reinvigorate your skin as the soundtrack to a journey through the cosmos plays all around you. Okay, well, you know, that's not for me, but I can understand some people would enjoy that. The last rooms she tells us about are the green rooms, which she calls Rebirth Day. Settle into an all-encompassing edible egg where you're surrounded by pure oxygen and a soft nutrient gel. As you slip into a higher level of consciousness, the egg gently drifts across the room. When the egg reaches the other side of the room, you have to fight your way out and through the door to begin your new life. Reborn. Viola, either you're a genius or this is going to be like that haunted house that just tortures you. The thing is, you can actually walk up to the doors and hear what's going on inside the rooms. If you walk up to the blue rooms, you hear the sound of waves. But the Tingletown rooms? This is the noise. It sounds like something from a Silent Hill game. Seriously, just look at the footage on screen right now and audio of that hum. It just fits perfectly. What on earth is going on in those rooms? I know she explained it, but they exude a level of horror better than most actual horror games. And this isn't me hinting, oh, we'll find more about this later. No, this is just one of these strange things in the game that doesn't really come up again. Like, look, the doors even have weird handprints on them. Excuse me, it just gives me the creeps. Viola thanks us for our work and promises she'll keep a rebirth egg warm for us. Why do I feel like I've stepped into a rabbit hole I did not want to go in? Hey, remember that potentially sentient dog car we cleaned a while ago? Well, we needed to clean that because apparently it features in a movie called Driving Me Barking, which recently debuted at a local movie theatre, where word got out that it's a so bad it's good movie, and the cinema was absolutely packed and people wrecked the place. So of course we need to come in and clean it, and we see a poster for that movie, Drive Me Barking, but there's another poster for another upcoming show. The poster showing a man in a suit held up by strings attached to a large hand. Of course implying that whoever this suited man is being controlled by a more influential person. That show being called Jeff. Now I only know one Jeff in this game, so let's keep this at the back of our minds for now. Next level has a roller coaster. A rideable roller coaster. Oh. Next level is we are tasked with cleaning this solar station exhibit, and it's the level that brings us into the last third of the game. And the conversations we get from text messages are starting to sound stranger, or rather the inclusion of them at this late in the game feels deliberate. When we go to clean the solar system, we're educated by Roshin about a hypothetical planet called Tia that crashed into Earth billions of years ago. This caused chunks of Earth and Tia to fly into space, which eventually collected together and merged into what is now our moon. What does this have to do with anything right now? Nothing. But it feels too important a detail to put in the game at this late stage for it not to be important. It also reminds me when I played the first game and only vaguely paid attention to the story, I started to wonder, why does everyone keep talking about this volcano? Only this time, why does the moon keep being mentioned and highlighted? At this point, it's worth mentioning that at our home base, after certain events, newspaper articles appear on this wall for us to read. These mostly just slightly expand on what we already know. For instance, we can see an article about Mayor Jeff's gerrymandering and his official notice for us to return the cat, stating that we have until the Spring Festival to do so. These really don't reveal too much more than what we already know from the story we've given through text messages, but after cleaning the solar system exhibit, a new article appears and part of it reads, "The model for our planet Earth even features a curious cutaway, revealing its many layers and the presence of super plumes. Huge chunks of an alien world buried deep within, one of which we now know is connected to our very own Mount Rushless." How's that for an out of this world fact? Just like the first game, something weird is being built up here, and I get the feeling this time it's on a cosmic scale. But before we learn more about that, we've got to go back to Detergento and clean an AI-powered streetcar, because Detergento is doing weird tech hijinks again. And what they've done, which I don't think is ethical, is implant AI recreations of people who lived in the town so that their AI ghosts can act as tour guides throughout the town. When we start cleaning the streetcar, the AI ghost of Penelope Proof, who was apparently Detergento's most prolific baker and part-time detective, she starts interrogating us, even questioning why we're hiding our face, wondering what we've got to hide. They go on to point out that our van, tucked away, sure they need equipment on the job, but how much? Or maybe there was more to this van than meets the eye. Maybe there was something else hiding in there. Something that, at that very moment, the entire county was looking for. Hey Rinson, thank you for another sterling effort, and apologies for the minor interrogation from Penelope. I think we'll take her offline for now. We don't want her throwing accusations at everyone that gets on board. Hopefully people can entertain themselves by looking out the window or something. I think we just got accused of hiding the gems by an AI. Man, thank God this game is a comedy, and AI will never actually be used to help solve crimes in real life. I don't even have an example of that happening, by the way. I just know it's going to happen at some point. Oh hey, Michelle found Karen in a weird house in the woods. The people who own this house apparently call themselves the Guardians of the Forest. And apparently they've put together this house from a repurposed treehouse. Wait a minute, it's not. No, it can't be. It's the treehouse from the first game. I'm getting PTSD just looking at it. But there's also a plane and it's got shrapnel mixed throughout the house as well. Where did they get these plane parts anyway? Dredged up from a nearby lake? Is this Blake Thrust's plane from the first game as well? The one that had a laser gun attached to it? Loving the funky new paint job though. This level doesn't just give us flashbacks to the first game, but it comes with lore. Karen tells us that the reason she has come out to these woods is she has been doing her own research and investigation into Mount Rushless, as both her and Michelle are at the volcano right now. She says that there's a unique feel around them while they're there. In fact, Karen says that she has always been sensitive to vibrations and frequencies, explaining that certain places have their own signatures. Usually I would think that someone who says this is about to sell me something, but we've also encountered time-traveling aliens, so yeah, why not? I believe her. And with that, I consider that case 1, the missing wife, solved. I think are they married? Karen goes on to say that she always thought that there was something more to the merman's beam and the gem that it shoots out from, as when that beam first shot out over her house, she says that it has the same signature as Mount Rushless, only much louder. Too loud, apparently. Suddenly, something dawned on her. The gemstones of the merman must have come from beneath Rushless. Karen even joined the geology team to see this for herself. The gems, it turns out, are made from a brand new mineral, which is now being called pacifist, a mineral that comes from when a rogue planet crashed into the Earth billions of years ago. Wait a minute, oh my god, Thea was relevant. She goes on to say that somehow Blake Thrust found this out as well. That's what he was doing during the events of the first game, when he destabilized the volcano. He was searching for gems made of pacifist. oh my god, I can't say this word, pacifist. Karen now suspects that big tech are now trying to do the same thing again, mining under Rushless to get the gems for themselves. If a one-man drill destabilized the entire volcano, imagine what an extensive mining rig would do. Man, who would involve themselves in something like that? And how could something so extensive go on without anyone knowing? Anyway, for our next job, we're asked to clean a mining dump truck at that quarry near Mount Rushless that we're under NDA for. Oh. We're the ones involving ourselves with an illegal mining operation. Oh well, they're going to pay us for it, so why not? And maybe we can learn a thing or two about the operation. But yeah, is this really for hauling a large amount of gems from the volcano? When I signed up for this gig, they said we'd be filling this truck with gems, and we'd all be rich. Alright, well, that's that mystery solved. Apparently though, the entire operation, they found absolutely nothing. And they're even packing everything up because everything that goes down there comes back covered in dirt. It's the weirdest thing I've encountered in my entire career. I've seen some weird stuff, believe me. For example, I was once down a mine in Canada and found water that was over 2 billion years old. States are rough. Buddy, you should stop doing that. People die from that. Have you seen how anxious people get on TikTok when you vaguely mention the word still water? Anyway, Karen also gets back in touch with saying that she's actually with her old buddy Calvin, who's a volcanologist. Got it right that time. He's also noticed anomalies recently, especially with seismic readings in the area that are off the charts, even beyond the levels recorded when Rushless blew. But nothing's happening. Where's all that energy going? So, a large corporation has mined into Mount Rushless for priceless gems, found nothing. There's also readings that seem like there should be either a huge earthquake or Rushless would be exploding, but nothing's happening. What's going on here? Also, why is this job way higher on the map than the last job we had at this exact same quarry? Yeah, I'm definitely not paying attention to that map anymore. Meanwhile, the mayor got attacked by eggs again. We get called to clean a funhouse, and during the mayor's first return to Muckingham after, you know, everything that happened in the first game, the locals didn't exactly give him the warmest return. Simon Wu, the funhouse owner, says that the mayor was already in a bad mood after a duck and a goat blocked his way out of Pumpton. Simon also explains that, and this is the funniest image I could ever imagine, after getting his limo pelted with eggs and everything else, the mayor ducks into the funhouse and he's chased throughout the whole place, getting away from an angry mob, running through the spinning tunnel, over the big piano. I need an animation of that or something. This is another of the best levels in the game. It's so fun to go through the funhouse linearly and clean it as you go. The piano plays notes and these things on the wall play sounds when you wash over them. It's such a good level. Man, if this is what the funhouse looks like, I wonder what the mayor's limo looked like. Oh, we're cleaning this for him too, huh? Yeah, okay. Damn, he's even got a helicopter. Jeff the mayor has now just about finished his county-wide tour of all the various towns, and he's starting to narrow down his choice for who's going to win Town of the Year. The mayor said he's had nothing but affection during his tour. Everywhere I went, people showered me with such love, praise, and produce. Folks here are so proud of their local identities. My extra long limousine is like a tapestry of adoration. And it's not just any dirt on that thing, it's the people's dirt. It's almost a shame to wash it all off, but I'm wearing my white suit to a fundraising dinner for the recovery of those gems later. Seems like there's still no progress whatsoever on finding those gems, but I guess it's gotten to the point where finding them is now something they're holding fundraisers for. I've got one bet where all that money is going. Jeff goes on to list all the towns that are currently in the running for Town of the Year. Well, let's start with who's not going to win. Fumarole, Power Falls, Sponge Valley, Lubricity. If I'm being honest, which I always am, those towns were a complete waste of fuel. So out of who's left, let's start with Pumpton. A lot of people out there to see me, so big plus for that. But a maniacal duck and goat blew it for them. Plus the farm switching up, such a petty response to being denied the water they need to run a viable business. Pathetic, so it's a big no for Pumpton. Next up, I guess, is the Fancy Pants Detergento. But what have they got? A restroom that flips up whenever you need it? Actually, they're in with a shout. Let's move on to Bucketon. I've never known such treachery and poor art, especially that hippie theatre. In fact, I've got a cease and desist out on that place, so it's a big no for Bucketon. Next down the line is Suds East. I mean, are they even taking this competition seriously? From what I've heard, they haven't even begun cleaning up at all. I gave them a flyby and that's all they're getting. Then we have my hometown, Muckingham. Those folks followed me everywhere I went, and will always have a place in my heart. but I've outgrown the place. It feels so small now, and such insignificance must never be rewarded. To give a rundown of this, Jeff has basically named every town on the map, which doesn't leave many options for who can actually win this award. Suds East isn't even on our map, and he's only got one place left to visit, Sparkleton. So unless they make a bad impression, they've got a good chance of winning. The mayor then also gives us a polite reminder. You have until the morning of the Town of the Year award ceremony to return Ulysses to me forever, or face the consequences. I have highly lucrative marketing opportunities that will be forfeited by his absence. That cat, wearing the hat, simple as that. Still not happening, Jeff, my man. The cat is mine. I need his company while I go clean a ski resort. What the fuck? Yeah, that can't be good. I don't think a power washer can fix whatever's going on up there. But what we can do is go clean a shopping centre in Sparkleton. The owner of which brings up some interesting points that got me thinking. They say they need this place cleaned because they want a good chance at getting the Town of the Year award. And they say to us, bet you've seen a real uptick in work since the mayor announced his masterstroke, haven't you? You must be booked up for weeks with everyone on the glow up. Just fantastic. And that's definitely true. Throughout this game, we've been all over the county, and it seems like a good chunk of our jobs have been due to the Town of the Year award. If anyone is benefiting from the Town of the Year award, it's us. But more importantly, Karen messages us with an update on the moon saying that, so, officials are claiming that seismic activity has started back up on the moon for the first time since the dinosaurs. Apparently the whole moon's ringing like a bell. The vibrational rise I'm sensing down here at Rushless is connected, I just know it. And man, that sounds really serious, Karen. We better get... Oh, a new job's coming through. Wait, who is this from? Rocky McGee? Oh, I gotta see what this is about. In the middle of the highway, across from the gas station, Rocky has asked us to clean a bike. A very normal looking bike that says full thrust on the back. He's even prepared to offer us double pay if we clean it quick enough. Whatever is going on with this bike, it's important. To catch people up, we heard about Rocky McGee in the first game while cleaning this delightful cottage in the woods, owned by a couple known as Hansel and Gretel Hexenjäger. And they told us that yes, they did move there after a large bank robbery, and while they did look similar to Rocky and Flues and McGee, famous bank robbers who carried out the heist, they definitely were not them. Honestly, I'm really glad they cleared that up because this graffiti was starting to worry me. Anyway, back to the present. Rocky seems concerned about how quickly we can clean this bike. My boss wants to know how long it's going to be till I'm back out on the sand trying to break that land speed record. And then he goes back on himself and then just says, I'm supposed to give you some nonsense about how we were trying to break the land speed record when something bad happened, but I'm past caring at this point. Let's be honest, you don't care anyway. You're just here for cleaning, right? Yes, sir, I really don't care about anything other than cleaning. This is like the 10th ethically questionable job I've had this game. But Rocky seems to have a better conscience than us and goes to say, you know what, actually, I'm done with that guy. I'll say what I want. Frankly, he doesn't deserve my loyalty after what he's put me through. For years, I've had to live in the woods, away from it all, after he messed up so bad. Years! So it was his cottage we cleaned in the first game, in case there was someone who actually had some doubt. Rocky goes on, the stuff he's had me doing recently doesn't even make sense. He's had me protesting in the desert, carting stuff through tunnels. The other day he had me throwing garbage at some float, and that is weird stuff to be doing, but who is he talking about? Who is he? I don't care what anyone told me. I'm putting this thing in fly mode and getting this delivery done. Fly mode? What is that? Oh, oh my god. Well, at least it didn't transform into a flying saucer this time. Bye, Rocky. Hey, remember that poster we saw at the theatre for something called Jeff? Well, Judith Punch, the creator of Jeff, the musical, invites us back to the theatre to learn all about it. The purpose of which is to expose all the shady shenanigans that Jeff the Mayor has been getting up to. And this play is going to give us so many answers to so many of our cases. Scene 1, the Malka Aitu Desert and the site of the Muckingham Merman. The mayor's own cronies toil against the oppressive heat to carve out the gems with their pickaxes, while the mayor assures the public that whoever did this, definitely not him, will be brought to justice. Now we know who stole the gems, now we just need to find out where they went and how to get them back. What's cool about this level is that once you complete a scene, you can advance to the next one, where we get scene 2, the recreation grounds in Muckingham, specifically the bandstand. That trapdoor we pointed out, not just a random detail, but a crucial part of the mayor's plan. Supposedly underneath it is a secret tunnel that helps the pilot of the mayor's airship escape through with the stolen gems. Scene 3, the national park in Power Falls, where that secret tunnel underneath the bandstand leads. Right to that very cottage we cleaned in the first game, Rocky McGee's cottage. The gems given to Rocky, who has a vehicle, aka that bike we just cleaned, courtesy of Blake Thrust, the evil billionaire. Hang on, I gotta rewrite that. Blake Thrust, the billionaire. And lastly, scene 4, Mount Rushless. Far beneath the earth, Blake Thrust's secret cave where he has been hiding out after the events of the first game, where Blake Thrust needs the gems for a time machine. Oh wait, that's just the theory? Okay, never mind about that bit. But weirder things have happened in this game. We wrap up this enlightening show that basically confirms everything we've been talking about this whole video. Now we know that the most important part of the puzzle of this whole story, that little trapdoor in the bandstand. But yes, the mayor and Blake Thrust seem to be up to their old tricks. That large hand puppeting Jeff that we saw on the poster, most likely belonging to Blake Thrust. However, still no notice of where he actually is, unless he really is building a time machine under the earth. Back over at the motel though, Viola says something weird has happened. A massive 18-wheeler truck and 2 men who were driving it stopped outside her motel and demanded the truck to be cleaned. Viola says she's put them in the green room while we come over and get the job done. One of the men supposedly looking like Bigfoot. They also say, do not look inside the truck. I already tried, it's locked. We get to cleaning this big truck and I'm gonna guess these guys are workers for the Bucketon festival. Sure enough, we get included into the Bucketon group chat, and apparently the Bucketon band truck that was in Bucketon was stolen. Oh, yeah, I think we found it. We also find a phone left by the truck's cabin door, and when we pick it up, seems there's a text coming through from the one and only Jeff Jefferson the 13th, the mayor of Caldera County. And what is he texting? Presumably, he's texting one of the 2 drivers of the truck, saying, what's taking them so long? You did find a truck to pick up Rocky and the bike, right? We need those gems to Thrust yesterday. If that bizarre dirtification thing's been happening again, then don't get that washer involved, you hear? They already know too much. No telling anyone the code's 1234 neither. Not only does that give us the code to unlock inside the truck, but I think it also tells us what's in there, and gives us some pretty good evidence to tie all this back to the mayor and Blake Thrust once again, confirming what we heard in the play. We open the truck and sure enough, there they are, the stolen merman gems. We tell our friends on the group chat, but even with this evidence against the mayor, he still owns all the best lawyers around. All except one. Devil the Sage is even better than Sherman Holmes, the mayor's toast! I'm never doing that again. It apparently was that easy for Xavier the Sage. We complete the level and Harper tells us that the mayor is already stripped of his title, Rocky confessed to all the goings on, and the gems are going to be put back into the merman statue. But the story's not done yet. There's still some unresolved threads. Oh, they fixed that. It's clear that the reason for the mayor inventing the Town of the Year competition was to distract everyone from worrying about the missing merman gems. So we can consider that case solved. But the bigger question remains. Why steal the gems? Was it really for Blake Thrust's time machine? Well, for now, the rest of the town is preparing to celebrate. They've put aside the whole Town of the Year award and are instead making a Caldera festival, combining the talents of every town, and one of our final jobs is we've got to clean a few town floats for it. Hey, is that a duck and a goat? I'm not gonna lie, the goat is creeping me out. While we're doing that, Harper and friends are at the merman statue, ready to put in the gems. First the headstone, which gets us back the beam, but there's also a second gem to put in, but flipped around just as Cerulean instructed. Once that gem's put in, and hey, there's a new beam coming at the merman. And I guess that's it. Everything fixed? We get a text message. Wishy, what's going on? Wasn't that second beam supposed to do something? There's still no change of the volcano, or the moon for that matter. I think something's gone wrong with Cerulean's plan. The moon is still spinning, and the seismic activity is still spiking more than ever. There is still one last piece of this puzzle left to solve. Harper tells us to follow that new beam, because that could be the key to solving that spinning moon. And wouldn't you know it, it leads right to Mount Rushless. I mean, ask anyone where that beam was gonna go and, oh, Mount Rushless, what a surprise! But it's here we find the last mission of the game, Mount Rushless. On the side of Rushless, we find this door carved into the rock. We can see the beam shooting all the way from the merman statue right to it. Hold on, I just gotta do this real quick. Bye-bye. Anyway, a door made of the same material as the merman's gems. And the skirt of the guy who crashed into our home base a while back? Don't worry, he's not a secret alien or anything. I don't think. But cleaning that door opens it, allowing us into a cavern that maybe no one has set foot in for centuries. Karen tells us that the moon is nearing the point of no return. I don't know exactly what that means, but if we follow this cavern to the end, we find this large shrine that lies directly beneath the opening of the volcano. And if we look up, directly above us is the spinning moon, spinning faster than ever. We do what we do best and get to cleaning. Cleaning these large gems in the cavern causes the beam to bounce around and eventually to the shrine. Harper tells us that the festival is in full swing now. People are celebrating, the fireworks are getting prepped, and the monks are hitting the griddy. That's a real message, I didn't make that one up. We clean that final speck of dirt, sending a beam up to the moon, which slows it back down to normal. And we did it! The day is saved from the spinning moon. I think we should have just left it, it spices things up a bit. We step outside to see the fireworks flying and get to look upon the festivities. And that's the end of Powerwash 2. For now, with the mayor out of the picture, we're also now the official guardian of Ulysses the cat. I still want to see them in the hat though. But now that the story's wrapped up, we can look at some of those loose threads throughout the story. What were all the murals about inside the temple? Well, thanks once again to ArtsyAxolotl, who was kind enough to do these translations once again. Annoyingly though, they don't give too much extra info. They mostly just hint towards the future levels, and so I thought it would be kind of a spoiler just explaining them when we first come across them. For example, the title on this one translates to Secret Birdhouse and is clearly a fun spin on the cabin in the woods with the plane stuck through it. The colossal beetle is the mining dump truck, etc, etc. And what was all that about the player character potentially being behind everything? I think this could have been a really fun twist, but from what I can see, it's just a red herring. But maybe there'll be more to this in the future. There's also a running joke about Rocky McGee actually looking like Bigfoot, and that's most likely where all the Bigfoot references come from throughout these games. People just mistaking him for Bigfoot. The biggest unresolved story thread though, is we still don't know what's going on with Blake Thrust. He's still missing. My guess is that this is going to be explored in DLC, or maybe even be the main story of Powerwash 3. Maybe he really did invent a time machine and the next game could be all about jumping through different time periods. Even if it's just DLC, I think that could be a ton of fun. FutureLab has already confirmed Powerwash 2 will follow the same roadmap as the first game, with a regular release of paid license-based DLCs and free updates that give more levels and hopefully more story. But I gotta be honest, I can't help but feel kind of disappointed by the way Powerwash 2's story pans out, which is an insane thing to say, to be disappointed by a power washing simulator game's story. But the last levels just felt kind of underwhelming to me. Compared to the first game and cleaning the Lost Palace, which somehow made a power washing game feel like this epic event. But for Powerwash 2, ending it with the cave level, which for the record I think is a really nice level, but the way they were setting up the moon, I honestly thought the last level was going to take place in space or on the moon or something like that, something as ridiculous as finding the Lost Palace of Atlantis basically. These games are just ridiculous and I really wish they would do more wacky levels. But I know that the majority of people do not care about the story, which is absolutely fine. The game's strength is as a relaxing game, and I love hearing stories about how people play this game when they're going through a tough time and how this game is able to just relax you and really get you through it. I would much rather have Powerwash Simulator be a chill game with a fun story buried underneath, rather than the developers trying too hard to make people care about a story they will never have an interest in. I almost think the more they try to deviate from just being a simple simulator game, the more it hurts them. With the new home base being the biggest example of that. The whole furniture mechanic is kind of shallow and it may as well not be there. It doesn't do anything, and even if you did put time into crafting a nice little base, you'll probably look at it once and that's it. You're very limited on where you can place the furniture, and it feels very difficult to actually put your own creative spin using these pieces of furniture. Every level I would go back to the home base looking for nice little details, and apart from the newspaper articles appearing in the back room, there's nothing. There's this huge space outside, but nothing to do there. I think a cool idea could have been maybe the whole base is dirty when you first get it, and you can decide to clean it all at the start, or you can slowly chip away at it as a break between the bigger levels. Because aside from that, there's really no point in leaving the main room with the map in it, because unless I'm missing something drastically, there's no point really going back to the home base. But with all that said, the main game is still fantastic. If you liked the first game, you will like this one. Power washing still feels great, and there's more equipment to use than ever, meaning whatever playstyle you want to use, it's there for you. I want to thank everyone for watching the first Power Wash video I made, and this one. That first video blowing up like it did genuinely change my life, and I couldn't be happier continuing to make videos. And if you'd like to support me continuing to make videos just like this, then I've recently set up a Patreon. This was meant to be a big unveiling, but some people already found it somehow. So here's their names going by, and with your support could include your name too in future videos. There's only one tier at £1 a month, and you'll get your name in the credits to any video on this channel, along with exclusive posts for media that probably won't ever be made into a video. If you'd like a sneak peek, I've made my first post free, which is my thoughts on Resident Evil 9. This Patreon will allow me to actually do something I really enjoy doing, and streaming regularly too, which if you'd like to catch a stream, you can head over to my Twitch, it's Fargo TV, or my second channel, it's Fargo 2. I stream every week, and I'll be playing some simulator games for upcoming videos, so if you're interested in watching, I'd love to have you come by. Thanks again, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.